So last time we have done a class of power amplifiers called as class A power amplifiers. So the main advantage of those amplifiers was number one. So just having a quick recap before we go to class B amplifiers. So the main advantage of class A amplifier was number one, distortion is very less in the amplifier because we talk about a full voltage swing. Then it gives the best sound quality due to being operated in a linear manner. So we are operating that in a linear manner. We are operating that in the active region of the transistor. Point number three, output varies for full 360 degrees of input signal. Output varies for full 360 degrees of input signal. And the fourth point is maximum power transfer to the load is possible due to impedance matching via the transformer. In spite of the above advantages, there are few disadvantages. So even if we say maximum power can be transferred, still the maximum efficiency that we can achieve is only 25 to 50%. So that is the first disadvantage. That is very low efficiency, that is 25 to 50%. Second, we have power dissipation of transistor is very high. Power dissipation of the transistor is very high. Third, they are used mainly for small signal stages and for low power applications. So even if we talk about power electronics, these kind of class A amplifiers are used for low power applications. And the fourth one is due to the presence of transformer, circuit becomes costly and bulky. So transformers, as you know, are very heavy, and that is why the circuit can become bulky. But that part is okay as far as if the accuracy is required and that is the only solution, then yes, we go for that particular solution. So today we are going to go for a different class of power amplifiers. We will focus on this amplifier today. The diagrams are pretty big, but you will have to draw it. That is the class B amplifiers, or I will say class B power amplifiers. So in class B power amplifier, Q point is located at the cutoff region of the transistor. So this is basically a power amplifier only. And Q point is located, so if this is the X and Y, here we are having IC, and if we are having VCE on this axis, and if my DC load line is this way, for class A, this was the Q point position for class A. But for class B, the Q point position is going to be on the VCE axis. So this is class. Anyways, so this is the place where we are having our Q point. Point to be noted, when we talk about class B amplifiers, we should understand that the Q point is at this position. What it means is that it will have a VCE value, but IC value is 0. It will have a VCE value, but IC value is 0. Okay. In class B power amplifier, Q point is located at the cutoff region. So this region is generally called as the cutoff region, as I said. So here if we see the transistor characteristics, so generally we operate the transistor here. So this region is basically your saturation. Then this region is active, and here we have cutoff. Here we have cutoff. So that is why My first opening statement for the class B power amplifier is that the Q point is located in the cutoff region. Here the output conducts only for 180 degrees of the input signal cycle. That means it conducts only for half the time. So conduction of transistor only for 180 degrees. So that is the reason why we want to amplify the full signal. If we say that it conducts only for 180 degrees, that means half of the signal is getting clipped. So we would not like to have any we would not like to have any clipping during the amplification. We want to amplify the entire signal, whatever it is. And that is why we use two transistors which are complementary to each other, which one is a NPN transistor, other one is a PNP transistor. That means when one conducts, the other does not conduct, and vice versa. So in class B power amplifiers, we use two transistors, each of which conducts for 180 degrees of the input signal cycle. So please draw this diagram with me to understand how the class B operation works. So this will also have a transformer. Please draw like this. So there are two transformers. Then we have first we have a NPN transistor, and then we have a PNP transistor. NPN and PNP. Then here on the secondary side, we are having a center tapping, and we are connecting this point here, and this point is connected to ground, and between this point and this point we are having a VCC, and again we are having a center tap transformer. Again we are having a center tap transformer. And on the other side, when we say a transformer will always have a primary side and a secondary side. So here we will be connecting our load, or you can show a simple resistance RL. So on this side, so let me call this as T1, that is transformer 1 and transformer 2. So two currents flow. One I will say IC1, that is collector current, collector, emitter, and this is base, and this is again emitter, base, and collector. So this current flows in this direction. So please draw this. Just a small change here. Now the PNP. IC1, IC2. Here this is a NPN. This is also a NPN. And the net current which will flow through the load is going to be IC. And IC will be IC1 minus IC2. That is basically the difference of IC1 and IC2. So please draw this circuit. Once you have drawn this circuit, just write done in the chat box. This is our Vin. So generally this transformer is called as input transformer, and this transformer is called as output transformer. Once you draw this, just write done in the chat box. Then together we will draw the waveform for the signal. So how are we measuring the signal? We are giving the input here, and across the load we will be measuring our V out. So here we will be measuring V out. This arrangement like this, when the transistors are stacked one above the other, when the transistors are stacked like this, one above the other, this arrangement is called as push-pull arrangement. It's called as push-pull arrangement. Push-pull arrangement. So generally during the positive half cycle we will have here plus and minus this way. So here also we will have plus minus or minus plus. So here we are having some kind of positive voltage with respect to ground, and here we are having a negative voltage. So we will just see the explanation of that. Okay. So if you are done copying with this, I'll just leave this circuit this way and use it for explanation. So this circuit that you can see here is called as transformer coupled class B push pull amplifier. So what happens in this is basically if IC1 increases, IC2 decreases, and if IC2 increases, IC1 increases. The load current IL, so this is my IL, I'll call it as IL. It is IC only, but let's call it as IL, is responsible for the development of output voltage. In this amplifier, both the transistors are biased at cutoff. This is easily done by providing zero bias at the base of each transistor. So you can see that generally this if Vin equal to 0, if Vin is equal to 0, how do we see the bias? How do we calculate the bias point? We make Vin equal to 0. So when we make Vin equal to 0, you can see that this center tap of the transformer is connected to ground, for both the transistors. So I'll call this as for both transistors Q1 and Q2. So that is why we say that in this amplifier both transistors are biased at cutoff. This can be easily done by providing zero bias at the base of each transistor by connecting emitter and base together. So you can very clearly see that VBE, that base and emitter are actually connected to each other, and DC wise this coil will offer a zero resistance. For DC wise this coil will offer a zero resistance, so as such base and emitter are connected to each other. Now let us go little bit below and draw the graph for this. So we will draw 4 graphs. Okay, we'll draw 4 graphs. First graph we will second graph you draw it like this. Third graph you draw it in this way, and this will be your fourth. So we want 4 of these like this. Now what we'll do is we'll have just draw lines like this. So let's draw some lines this way. So you draw it properly. I'm also trying to draw it. So at least 5 cycles we should be able to draw. I think this is enough. Okay. So we are having our first thing is our input. First is always the input. Okay. So first signal is, I will say, V in. Everything is with respect to V in and the reference is 0. So now what happens? Let us see. With no input signal applied at the input, both Q1 and Q2 are cut off and no current flows from supply to transistor except for some reverse leakage current. But let us assume that these transistors are ideal. So when the base current is 0, the collector current will also be 0. Thus, there is no power wastage in standby and dissipation in transistor is practically 0 when no input is applied. So for this above circuit, when the input is 0, practically there is almost 0 power dissipation because IC will be equal to 0. So I'll just write it here for your sake. When V in equal to 0, IC1 equal to IC2 is equal to 0. Now, during positive half cycle, that means if V in greater than 0, into bracket I will write during positive half cycle. During positive half cycle of V in, base of Q1 is forward biased, whereas base of Q2 is reversed bias. Therefore, Q1 is on and Q2 is off. Point to be noted, Q1 is off and Q2 is on. Therefore, the collector current IC1 flows from VCC, so IC1 not equal to 0 and IC2 is equal to 0. So IC1 flows and because of this, the net load current will be IC1 minus IC2. So let us say that this will be some positive value. That will be some positive value. In a similar way, during negative half cycle, when V in is less than 0, I will write here during negative half cycle, Q1 will be on and Q2 will be off. Q1 will be on and Q2 will be off. Therefore, IC1 is equal to 0 and IC2 not equal to 0. And the net current IL is equal to IC1 minus IC2. So this is going to be negative. This is going to be negative. So here this is going to be the case. And that is the reason why you can see that for positive half cycle we have current which is flowing in the positive direction. For the negative half cycle we have current which is flowing in the negative direction, and that gives rise to an alternate and when we see the net current, it is going to be a complete half cycle. So first, this is my Vin. Now let us see current flowing, that is IC1. So IC1 will be something like this. IC1 flows, you can see IC1 is positive only during positive half cycle. So this is my IC1, which is positive during only the positive half cycle of the input when V is greater than 0, and IC2 will be flowing on negative half cycle. And the net current, load current, is IC1 minus IC2. So here it is positive, minus 0 will be positive only. So here I am plotting IL, and 0 minus this thing will be negative. So that's how you get here the values. Now somewhat you should note here Q1 is on, here Q2 is on, Q1 on, Q2 on, and so on. But when Q1 is on, Q2 is off, here Q1 is off, here Q2 is off, Q1 is off, and so on. Please draw this waveform. Once you are done, write done in the chat box. So during positive half cycle, this is the polarity. During negative half cycle, the polarity will change. It will become minus, plus, minus, plus. And here we have minus, here we have plus. So Q2 turns on, Q1 turns off. And if you look at this and this, it is vice versa. Yes, any doubts in this, please ask. But here there is a small problem called as crossover distortion. It's called as crossover distortion. Here though we have drawn this very nicely, but there is always a problem called as crossover distortion. So please copy this and then I will explain you why that crossover distortion actually happens. So once you are done, please write done. So I will come to know that you have drawn this diagram. Now this working and this waveforms and this circuit comes for around 10 marks in the exam. So they are easy marks, so please solve that. Just for the record, the EDC2 question bank is posted in the Teams. You can just download it and have a look at it. As promised, on 30th April, we have put it. Okay, Ashish, let's wait for 2 more minutes till everybody draws this diagram. It's a very important diagram that way. Yes, another 1 minute I'm going to wait so that everybody is on the same track. So those who have finished writing this, they can think about the cause of the problem. That is, the problem is somewhere here with VBE, because of which we get some kind of crossover distortion. Yes. So when you think about already made one statement, you have to relook at that statement that I said that these transistors are working in an ideal way. But actually, unless VB is 0.7, the transistor will not turn on. Actually, if VB is 0.7 volts, the transistor will not turn on. So just a 0. So just this condition, V in greater than 0 or V in less than 0 is not sufficient. Actually, should be, so in a practical case, V in should be greater than 0.7, and for this case, V in should be less than 0.7. So this is my rather mod of this. So that is the most important thing here, and that causes crossover distortion. So what exactly is crossover distortion? To understand that, we can again have a axis. Okay, so what actually we observe is something like this. So first you draw like this, and actually the conduction should start from here, but it starts from here. Then for some time the output is 0. So this I will be showing you in the lab. So this is how the conduction actually happens. So unless my Vin reaches 0.7, my output does not, my transistors don't conduct. So again we have something like this. So this thing here, this is called as crossover distortion. Okay, so this is the problem, and of course this is, you can call it whatever you want. Now why this happens is because if you look at this previous diagram, we assume that the cutoff is this 0, but actually the cutoff is 0.7, like this, and like this. So actually if you take these points down like this and this point, what we get is conduction only for a certain time. What we get is a conduction only for certain time, and that is why we get a flat response here, and that causes some distortion at the 0 cross. So actually I want a very smooth waveform, I want something very smooth, but at this points there is a flattening of the waveform. So that is why we say that okay, having a Q point perfectly at 0 is of actually no use. So we have to slightly keep the Q point not exactly at 0 but above 0. So that is, we are moving from class B operation towards class A operation. Not completely. That is why that new circuit. So to overcome crossover distortion, we use a circuit called as class AB power amplifier. Class AB. So it works slightly in both the modes, A and B. Once you are done copying this diagram, please write done in the chat box. So this is T. So if this is omega T, then we can write pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, so and so. So in actual practice, true class B operation introduces crossover distortion, which is as shown in the figures, the one which I have marked in blue. Crossover distortion refers to the fact that during signal crossover from positive to negative or vice versa, there is some non-linearity in the output signal. So ideally we are predicting that the signal should be perfectly smooth, but it is not. So there is some non-linearity in the output signal at 0 crossover. This results from the fact that the circuit does not provide exact switching off of one transistor and switching on of other at zero input. This means when we get something like this, when we in this place we say Q1 is on, here we say Q2 is on, obviously Q1 is off when this is high. But in this place, in both these places, Q1 and Q2 both are off. Both are off. Q1 and Q2 both are off. So in the option based paper they may ask you that the crossover distortion happens when Q1 is on, Q2 is off, Q2 is on, Q1 is off, both are on or both are off. So the crossover distortion actually happens when both Q1 and Q2 are off. So we have said that this actually happens because the circuit does not provide, again I am repeating, the circuit does not provide exact switching off of one transistor and switching on of other transistor at zero input. Both transistors may be partially off so that the output voltage does not follow input around zero voltage condition. So since both transistors Q1 and Q2 are off for a certain amount of time, for that much time the output voltage does not follow input around the zero voltage condition. This happens because of 2-3 reasons. So following are the reasons. This arises from the fact that at low collector currents, that is near cutoff, the value of beta or HFE is quite low as compared to rest of the cycle. So if input of base voltage is sinusoidal, output collector current will not be faithfully enlarged sine wave at low values of current. So near cutoff, the values of beta are quite low, and that is why at those time instances, the collector current will not be faithfully enlarged sine wave. So that is why the distortion. Also, silicon power transistors, like I said, require 0.7 to around 1 volts of VBE to become on. The silicon power transistors require around 0.7 to 1 volt to go into the on state. Therefore, up to 1 volt of V in, the load current will be zero because the transistors Q1 and Q2 are off, and that is the reason why at zero crossing output current waveform distortion occurs. This distortion is known as crossover distortion. So since the power transistor itself 0.7 to 1 volt to turn on, and thus at zero crossing output current waveform distortion occurs. So somebody may ask you in the oral, what is crossover distortion? So you must say the zero crossing output current waveform distortion is called as the crossover distortion. Now, how to overcome this distortion? In order to overcome crossover distortion, class AB push-pull power amplifier can be used. Class AB push-pull power amplifier can be used. So what we will do is we will do a slight modification in this circuit itself, in the top circuit. We will do a slight modification in this circuit and make it class A. So what they are saying, if you are operated at this point, you are getting what? Zero crossover distortion. So if we operate in class B, that is, if our Q point is on the VC axis, we have to face zero crossover distortion. Zero crossover distortion. Now, in class A, did we have zero crossover distortion? No. In class B, we are facing zero crossover distortion. So the designer said that don't operate at the Q point of class A and don't operate at the Q point of class B also. So you move somewhere on this side. So you move towards class A, but not at class A. So you operate somewhere here. And this position is called as class AB. So you are moving from class B towards class A, and this kind of operation. So we are moving from class B operation towards class A, not completely class A, but towards class A. Please, not class A. That is why we say to overcome, maybe you have to move towards little bit towards class A operation, and this, when you move little bit from class B to towards class A, this kind of amplification is called as class AB power amplification, and the circuit which does that is called as class AB power amplifier. So this part we will do next time. I want you all to copy down this crossover distortion waveform. Once done, just write done in the chat box. Have you understood why crossover distortion occurs? Two reasons. Number one, the value of beta or HFE is quite low near cutoff region as compared to rest of the, and second, the silicon power transistors require 1 volt as voltage to turn on at the base. So that is why this distortion happens only at crossover, where the input voltage values are less or between 0 and 1 volts.